Jim, something I forgot to mention on the last episode was that at Slamboree 95, the Giant made his debut, and he is positioned right away as a threat for Hogan. And soon they're even going to make reference to him being the son of Andre the Giant, which I bought hook, line, and sinker when I was a kid. I thought he was the son of Andre. Jim, what were your initial impressions of this enormous green talent and his quick ascent to the main event?
Well, they brought him in at a house show somewhere, much earlier. We were at some house show or anything, and they brought in the Big Show into the dressing room, Hogan, and we were all sitting around. And he had this real greaseball manager, man. He was, because he knew what he had. He's like,
Yeah.
And the Big Show was cool. He was respectful, excited to be there. Yeah, so you could see the guy had talent written all over him, because not only was he was different than Andre. Andre had that Giant's disease where he was like a huge midget. He had like if that's the right terminology nowadays, but he had those type of features,
Yep.
And where the Big Show was just a well-proportioned big man, like Shaquille O'Neal. Just now there's a lot of 7-footers. Back in Andre's time, 7'2", that was really unique. Now you see a lot of 7-foot kids, 6'9", But he was very respectful. You could see he had talent written all over him. And he actually probably had a lot more training than Goldberg did, than Goldberg did. When Bill, they threw Bill right in the mix, man.
Yep. Yeah, untrained.
He admits it. He don't know what the hell's going on. I know how it was. I didn't have much training at all, neither. It's hard when you don't know what you're doing.
Jim, when you see like a young guy at TV, and maybe the Giant, maybe somebody like Goldberg, and knowing like what, your background, what you came from, are you trying to like smarten the young guys up, or is it one of those eras where they didn't want to hear from, the veterans?
Yeah, I just kind of kept to myself. I didn't, offer words. If anybody, even nowadays, I'd never offer advice. If somebody comes up and asks something, I'll be, sure to give my 2 cents. But what I tell kids, obviously, first, the main question is, hey, I want to be a wrestler. I said, well, great, chase your dreams, because whoever would have thought Daniel Bryant would have made it? I first thought Daniel Bryant, and I'm like, that ain't going to happen. Well, yes. Building, the guy had the work ethic, the desire, became a huge star. But chase your dreams. But if you look at it a way to feed your family, numerically, you got a better chance of playing in the NFL.
Yep.
Where there's 300, 400 guys, NBA, 200 guys, WWE, 40, and maybe 30 that are in the mix. It's television. It's more competitive than sports.
Yep.
Makes no difference how good of an athlete you are. It makes no difference how good you can talk on camera. If you don't have it, you're not going to make it. And it's just not kids from America. You got guys from Japan, Australia, Europe. Everybody wants one of those 40 spots. I tell everyone, well, wrestling is fake. I said, that has nothing to do with it being competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Shows and days of our life. That's not a real show, That's not real people. It's a TV show. And try to get on that show. I mean, it's extremely competitive, but you never know. So chase your dreams, brother.
Yeah, man. It's in wrestling, it takes so many tangible and intangible qualities. You've got to have like the mind for it. You've got to have the willingness to travel, the willingness to beat yourself up for pennies. And it's
it's a long. I don't know how many chairs I sat up, tear down the ring. It's a long. Well, nowadays is little. Well, you think nowadays kids come through the indies, but they don't have to quite. Well, I think a lot of them still do travel, but yeah, you pay your dues. Like you should in pretty much any business. Few guys get the golden one, like you're telling the Big Show. Boom, the show, Goldberg. Boom, got the big push. Ultimate Warrior. We pay a little bit of dues, but they gave him the big push. So, like you said, there's no set formula where you can run, a 3, 5, 40 and have a, 2 or a 6 foot vertical jump or whatever. Bench press 500 pounds. Has nothing to do with it.
Right. Yeah, it's it takes like the personality, the drive, like there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah,
Somebody
your
who's
family life, you're on the road a lot. Of course, you're not like back in the day when we lived it. It was a lifestyle for us. I don't know, Thanksgiving's coming up. My daughters are coming up from Florida, but Deborah and I talked about, I don't know how many Thanksgivings we had at a Waffle House, man. It's like lonely and cold out there on the road, brother. It's great if you make it, but you're beating the odds. But it's been a great business for me, and it's great for a lot of guys. As we talked many times, everybody sees the dark side of the ring. There's a good side of the ring also.
absolutely, I
Not
hear a lot
real
of guys.
good, it could have been a lot better, but still, it was as bad as it was, you know.
I've heard a lot of guys say that you kind of have to choose when you become a wrestler. Like, do you want to be a family man or do you want to be a wrestler? And a lot of people are like, you have to choose. There's no alternative. So that's why you see like a lot of deadbeat dads who are in the wrestling business.
Well, plus
Jim,
guys are banging the chicks all over the place back in the day.
hmm
I mean, they would actually be lined up in the hallway with Ricky and Robert, and when they were Ricky and Robert and Sean and Marty were all at the Labassiere Hotel in Shreveport where we did TV. They would literally be lined up in the hallway. So me and Doc, we would just get the overflow.
the stragglers. Like wolves
We pick
looking for
off
the
the weak and lonely.
the weak and wounded out there.
No.
Jim, it's also announced during this period that Ric Flair and Bischoff are not seeing eye to eye when it came to booking decisions. Flair had been booking for WCW during this time, and Kevin Sullivan is going to be taking over the reins. Jim, did you notice any difference between the way that Flair was booking or Sullivan was booking?
Uh, yeah, at that point, I didn't get along with Eric very well. When we first came in, it was great. When I first came in with Eric, with Hulkster, and we all came down to WCW, and we were doing TV at Center Stage in Atlanta with black covers over the seats so nobody could tell nobody was there. And we took it to a whole different level. But then, if everybody talked about talent getting the big head, Bischoff, man, in the office, he got the big head. And he got very hard to deal with. Like now, I get along good with Eric, but
So you can
then
see why Flair maybe had issues with him.
yeah, and Flair's Flair, and I'm going to go with the guy that's actually in the ring doing the better booking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Flair and Sullivan. I've worked with Sullivan a bunch, worked with Flair a lot. So yeah, I didn't know Eric. He came from up north. I never worked near him. First time I met him was when he was working with WCW. So I had no interaction with him when I first met him. When I first came down, he put me on a nightly, and it was a good nightly, and they were booked, 28 days a month. And I was like, this is great.
Let's keep this going.
Everybody's like, Duggan's on a nightly. I'm like, yeah, shut up.
Nobody tell him. He'll forget.
Yeah, but yeah, so he made up for later on. But yeah, I would go with Rick, but I didn't know. Yeah, I wouldn't say I noticed a whole difference from my position. Guys on top, I was a mid card guy then. Guys on top might have noticed more.